In terms of this country and where we are today, in some ways, we're so much better than we have ever been as a nation. Let me give you one example. African Americans, most of the African Americans in the United States today have ancestors that were brought to this country in chains. And this was not seen as something wrong or immoral, except by a very small group of British people and American, mostly Unitarians. There were pamphlets written by Jews, by Christians, not only justifying that black people were the accursed descendants of Ham, and therefore this was their fate, but that the Bible justified the conditions of slavery in the United States. That was not that long ago, people. In the 1950s, when Eisenhower was president, African Americans could not drink from the same drinking fountains as white people in many states in this country. It's hard for people here to imagine that, but there are people here that are alive today that don't know the history of this country. That's not old history, it's recent history. That most people of color in the United States of America 50 years ago had the option of being a janitor, a night watchman, a maid, a servant. These were the options. That is no longer the case. There is a man of color in the White House that was white for over 200 years. That house was white for over 200 years. So things have changed. To deny that change in this country, those positive changes, is to deny an aspect of America that is very important. So from that perspective, things are much better. That's just one example, and I could give many other examples. But from other aspects of the United States, there are very troubling signs going on in this country right now. Let me give you an example. In the FBI, they issue certain guidelines for determining extremists. One of the recent guidelines was if they talk too much about restoring the US Constitution, that's considered extremism or a sign of extremism, because there are certain peoples in this country that are very troubled by a lot of the rights in the Constitution and aspects of the Constitution that have been trampled upon. They're very troubled. The right to be free of illegal search and seizure without probable cause. The fact that people can now be patted down. I was in an airport and my 6-year-old child, I almost went to blows because I've got a lot of Irish blood. And I was in an airport and this guy wanted to pat my 6-year-old child down. And I told him, you're not laying your hand on that boy. And if you do, you better get your taser out. I'm telling you the truth. And he got very offended. And I said, look, I actually wrote a paper on pornography in this country, and I know the statistics of pedophilia. And I'm not accusing you, but I don't know you. You are a stranger. And when I was a kid, my mother told me, watch out for strangers. So I don't want you touching my child. Now, if you want to bring a lady out here, if she has to check a 6-year-old boy, then I'll let you, because statistics show women don't molest little kids. They might aid and abet a molester, but they don't do it, because that humanity is still intact. For me, that is a complete, gross, and egregious trampling of my right as a parent to protect my child. What kind of a world are we in when a 6-year-old has to be patted down? What kind of experience is that for a 6-year-old child? People don't think about these things, but this is the world they're growing up in. When I was a young boy, the whole family went to the gate in the airport. That was the America we grew up in. You went to the gate to see your family off. There was no, you didn't have to stand in front of a machine that was going to basically undress you for some stranger to look at you.
إلهي يا متعال